Hello, I'm Dr. Catherine Horton. This is a very quick update of what has been happening. Essentially, the attacks on us have become ever more severe. I am being mutilated to death in my own home. So is Karen Melton Stewart, and so is Ramola D, Dr. Millicent Black, and Melanie Vritschan. These women on the life sign monitor. I have experienced, on top of the mutilation, also extreme sabotage. My website, when I'm trying to edit my website, I can't, because I type something and it takes about 20 seconds for text to appear. Now, it makes it extremely hard to maintain the website, which is why the life sign monitor has not been kept up to date. That plus also other severe sabotage. So I would log in and they would essentially corrupt the table in front of my own eyes and keep doing that. So this is really severe sabotage. I also put out the information about the Twitter sabotage and the YouTube sabotage that you can see. So every single aspect is being made harder and harder. But the worst thing is really the physical assaults. So essentially we are just under non-stop military assault. For example, Melanie Vritschan, she is the founder of the human rights charity IKATOR. They had a board meeting on Sunday, and after the board meeting, they discovered that Melanie's car had been sabotaged, vandalized. So, fortunately, I was just calling in from Switzerland, but there were other board members present, and they essentially went to the police with Melanie to actually confirm this. But this is just the utterly degenerate nonsense that Belgian intelligence does. So what you can see here is that the actual assaults are identical. Dr. Millicent Black, Karen Melton Stewart, Ramola in the US, Melanie in Belgium, and myself in Switzerland, we are all being mutilated exactly the same way, the same type of sabotage and harassment, because this is a global system. This is essentially a global Nazi takeover of the intelligence agencies. And we're now fighting this. You saw the Vault 7 releases. One of the releases in the Vault 7 is essentially a link to a document proving that already 10 years ago, in 2007, people were desperately trying to get help with the mutilation from electromagnetic weapons, and people just stonewalled and refused. Essentially what that means is that the people who stonewalled are Nazi collaborators, because these are Nazi death camp experiments. These are extermination programs. And with my own case, you can see that the stonewalling continues. So, we have actual detailed names of the people who have been actively stonewalling victims. And I encourage all the victims to collect these names and write together who has stonewalled you, because these are Nazi collaborators, okay? This is a Nazi ideology, and these are Nazis or Nazi collaborators. I want you to understand that. These are death camp experiments. People are essentially shot into because they're meant to die. They're shot into because they're meant to be mutilated. They're meant to be given cancer. They're meant to have their life destroyed by a bunch of Nazis. So, the other news is also that we're trying to help some very, very high priority victims as well. And one lady, she's been trying, I don't want to give her identity, but essentially she's been trying to conceive. And she's being targeted by the intelligence agencies, and essentially, she became pregnant. The pregnancy was confirmed. You can see the little heart beating on ultrasound. But this lady traveled back to Germany, and in Germany, the degenerate Nazis in the BND essentially tried to make her lose her child. So she arrived at her parents, and she was microwaved into her uterus over and over and over. And you can feel these attacks. I feel when I'm being microwaved to different body parts. And essentially, they microwaved her so hard that she started bleeding heavily. And that was not just the only sabotage. So that's basically it, you know, because as soon as she became pregnant, and they know, they listen into all the doctors' meetings and so on. So the intelligence agencies make a point out of humiliating the victims. So they will make a point out of letting you know that they've either infiltrated a doctor. They did that with me in a very, very personal doctor's appointment. And they will also let you know that they listened into every word. So through the windows you can do surveillance and listen to every word spoken pretty clearly. And they will listen into everything and then kind of mime out to the victims that they have noticed. And essentially in this case, you know, it was mimed out, there was sabotage. The lady was told not to lift anything heavy. And then by the time she got home, she realized the lift has been disabled. So she had to carry shopping up 9 flights of stairs. And these things keep happening. Her car was vandalized, you know, as well. And these things just accumulate. And then when she traveled back, and I think if I analyze the situation, the absolute degenerate psychopaths in German intelligence wanted her to have the extra emotional distress to lose the child whilst she is at her parental home. You know, because in these situations, other family members will put extra pressure on you. I mean, you would think they would support you, but no, not when you're target. And that's exactly what happened. They microwaved her uterus so hard she started bleeding extremely heavily. And you know, this is just not normal. And she said that also at night what they did is that they were vibrating her body. So you can use electromagnetic waves to vibrate things. And you can also use high intensity ultrasonics and stuff like that. So, and a lot of the victims, me included, have this every night, that, you know, the intelligence agencies just shoot into my body parts, they shoot into genitals, and when they get bored, they microwave your joints into agony. When they get bored with that, they shoot you in the face, and they shoot through my teeth. Then they make popping sounds in my head, you know, causing cavitation and superheating my brain. Then they just shoot into my spine, and then eventually when they get bored they'll start vibrating the bed. And so from this sheer density of utterly impossible things to happen to you, you figure out that, oh, okay, the vibrations, you know, are the intelligence agencies. So they've been vibrating me this week. They also vibrate me here at my desk in the study. And with her, they've been vibrating her body. And essentially in the early stages of pregnancy, that's the worst thing, because you can be made to lose your child. And that's what they tried to do. They were trying to make her lose her child. That's by her own testimony. And she is a victim of many years. So the BND is so utterly fucking degenerate and Nazi that they would mutilate a woman to make her lose an unborn child. Now that's as Nazi as it gets. That is Nazi. So the BND is a Nazi outfit. I mean, I know they are a Nazi outfit because they've been mutilating me, but the Nazi outfit of the BND needs to be shut down. It's not just the CIA with Vault 7. The BND is Nazi too. And MI5 and MI6 are Nazi too. And the NDB here in Switzerland is Nazi too. They are Nazi outfits with a Nazi ideology, and they are mutilating women. And men as well. But for women it's particularly hard because of these things. Because of, you know, them trying to also protect unborn life. So imagine, could now please everybody rise and help us? Please. We are trying to fight a bunch of fucking Nazis maiming and murdering people and putting people into concentration camps. The Nazis are clearly identified. The Nazis in Switzerland are run by Markus Seiler for the NDB. The Nazis in Germany are run by the BND, Dr. Bruno Kahl. Right? The Nazis in Belgium harassing Melanie Vritschan are run by Jaak Raes. And the Nazis in the UK are run by Andrew Parker. So the Nazis who shot me in the head after my first High Court hearing They are run by Andrew Parker. There's no mystery here. So Andrew Parker, Dr. Bruno Kahl, Jaak, Raes and Markus Seiler are running Nazis. They are running Nazi death squads that are putting concentration camps around people who maybe don't have the right genetics. Okay? Because I'm a German citizen, but the Germans don't really protect me. Maybe that's because I'm a German of German origin, but I'm from Transylvania. Right? I'm not Deutsch enough for the BND. I'm not Deutsch enough for the German ambassador here in Switzerland, who I've begged for help. He doesn't care. Right? These are Nazi experiments, and they put little Nazi degenerates around the home of a person, and then they shoot you to bits. So this is the update. Also, Melanie Vritschan, the founder of Ikator, she was she showed me sabotage in her flat. They broke into her flat again. They smeared her sofa with the white sofa with brown stuff, and at the same time, in the bathroom, they have smeared bleach over her towel. So, a purple towel, you can just see that it was essentially bleached out in this odd pattern. And it just goes on and on and on and on. So, please, I'm being mutilated right now as I speak. My head is, essentially being cooked. When I go to bed, it's now, 4 a.m. here. When I go to bed, then, my bed area is being vibrated. They try to shoot into me. I have to essentially, one of the things you don't notice is that as I'm standing here trying to protect myself from my neighbors, but not really doing very well, I essentially have these big panels here put up. This is 12 layers of aluminium. It was the cheapest thing I could do. I put 2 layers of this. But when I sleep, I essentially have to build myself on my bed. I have to build myself shielding, like by putting it together like that in a triangle. And then sleeping under this bunker. And I have to protect my head, I have to protect my legs. And for the past year, I have to, in the double bed, I have to put up shielding to be safe. I have to crawl in there, because the degenerate Nazis run by Markus Seiler for the NDB, the degenerate Nazis here in Switzerland are mutilating women. And they think we're all so fucking stupid, we're not going to work out that they are vibrating our bodies with high frequencies. They are literally that fucking degenerate that we're not going to figure out that all the gang stalkers are actually the National Surveillance Network. Well, Professor Eric Karlstrom figured out that essentially this international intelligence agency conglomerate is running death squads according to the protocol run by the CIA in Vietnam and Latin America. They are running death squads. They are ganging up on people. They are mutilating them to death. They're infiltrating their medical care. And then you've got these whacked out, utter worthless degenerates. I mean, they also have got this huge operation to train little degenerates, the fucking degies as I call them. These are teenagers and men and women in their early 20s, right? The wisest time of a person's life. And they are trained to break into homes, cut up things. They are trained to troll people online. And essentially, they are groomed for maximum psychopathology. So they are made to essentially do whacked out tasks. And they are trained to be as harmful and hurtful to a person. So I would bet that the lady who was assaulted so that she loses her baby, probably the people operating the equipment were in their early 20s. Some utterly whacked out bitches and total hollow-headed dickheads run by the BND and Dr. Bruno Kahl and the Nazi families who seem to be infesting the BND. That's how fucking degenerate they are. And when you know this, just look at the new BND building in Berlin. Doesn't it look like the big fat fucking Stasi? Well, it does, because that's what it is. The BND has in Pullach, its HQ for the Nazi conglomerate. And for the Stasi people, they're probably like, oh man, you know, we so miss the Stasi, in a huge heap of nostalgia. You have essentially this like big fucking Stasi building pulled up. Just look at it. It just looks like fucking Stasi. Just look at, please Google the new BND building in Berlin and just look at what this shit looks like. It's the fucking Stasi. We don't need this shit in our world. You know, the Vault 7 leaks. Just look at them. Look at what the CIA is. And the truth on the ground is that these degenerates are so fucked in the head. They're running around smearing bleach over towels. They're making women lose their babies just because. Then they're going around putting dents into cars and ripping, you know, windscreen wipers off. They're breaking into homes and damaging floor panels. That's what happened to Melanie Vritschan. She had beautiful wooden paneling in her flat. And it's essentially this kind of fishbone pattern. And then these fucking degies run by Jaak Raes for Belgian intelligence broke into a flat and they took out all the triangular bits because, ooh, that looks like the all-seeing eye. Ooh. Like, what the fuck? How fucking degenerate is the organization, Jaak Raes? How fucking degenerate can you be? And here, Markus Seiler's fucking Deji squad, you know what they're doing? So I was almost assassinated. I had received a death threat on my way to the High Court in London before my first hearing. And then I survived an assassination attempt 3 days later when they shot into my head on a motorway in a tunnel in Switzerland so that I almost crashed into the walls of the tunnel. The next day, a life-size black goat appeared on a flat roof right opposite my house. So I can see this big life-size black goat, a big life-size plastic goat from pretty much almost every room in my house. This big goat seems to also have something flat on its back on certain days, which looks like, strikingly like a flat antenna, like an assault antenna with which you can microwave people, pointing at my house. So, but anyway, the black goat, does it remind you of something? Does it remind you of the, essentially the Satanist goat worshipping kiddie fuckers of Pizzagate and Hampstead cover-up fame? So imagine the fucking degies run by Markus Seiler, who have continued the mutilation of the BND and of MI5 and MI6 in the UK. Their idea is to almost murder a woman because she attends a High Court hearing and put a kiddie fucking symbol on her roof. Like, yeah, we're Swiss intelligence and we too fuck children. Just like, you know, heads of MI5 and MI6 have been known to do in the UK, according to news reports in the past. And judging by the sheer number of people who seem to have died in Belgium related to paedophile inquiries, I think kiddie fucking seems to be pretty big in Belgium too. But imagine we have Pizzagate and the Hampstead cover-up, and then the fucking degies in Switzerland related to intelligence think that the way to announce that, yeah, hey, you know, we've done this after an assassination attempt is to put a fucking paedophile symbol on a roof. Yeah, we fuck goats and children too. Wow. I was so scared when I saw that. I was like, oh my god, it's not just that I was almost assassinated. Now I know I'm being almost assassinated by kiddie fuckers. Hey? Like fucking hey? And I should post a picture. What they also did is now they're parking a pickup in the Swiss colors in front of my house. Like, it's a red van with white stripes, two big fat white stripes on top. It's like red and white. And it's like, yeah, but that's also the fucking Nazi symbol, isn't it? Like the swastika. Like, the Nazis were paid from Switzerland, as we now know. And this whole red and white, right? I mean, remember the swastika? It's kind of like a fucking Nazi symbol. And it's like, we're Nazis and kiddie fuckers. So in front of my house, I now have the Nazi symbol, like an actual fucking swastika, you know, the primary colors of the swastika and the fucking goat for the satanistic kitty fuckers. And the head of the Swiss intelligence is Markus Seiler. Meanwhile, Melanie Vritschan in Belgium, in Belgium, where kitty fucking, judging by the Dutroux affair, was pretty fucking big, right? So the capital, I'm not sure if it's the capital because there's so many competing, but one of the capitals of kitty fucking Belgium, you have this entire kitty fucking process and all the court cases, and then the little trainee degies run by Jaak Raes in Belgium, they really think the best idea to harass Melanie Vritschan, founder of a human rights organization, right, is to break into her home and take out the wooden floor panels that look like a pyramid, like a triangle, for the all-seeing eye. Not realizing that the whole goat and all-seeing eye was like really deep in with the kitty fucking. So we have literally Belgian intelligence announcing their kitty fucking traditions for harassment theatre of the founder of a human rights charity. I mean, you have to top that, right? And I have actually photographed the floor panels. I should just, Melanie gave me permission to post them, so I should just post the fucking floor panels. I mean, this is how degenerate our intelligence agencies are. They are essentially, it seems to be, by their own announcement, because black fucking goats are, to do with this satanistic, ritual child abuse and ritual sacrifice of children, like the whacked out pedo rings have been known to do, Hampstead cover-up, amongst others, because there was so much of this around the world. And then my harassment, to make it absolutely clear, I understand that it's intel. They have an assassination attempt, and the next day they put a kitty fucking symbol on the roof opposite my house. Not just saying we fuck children as Swiss intelligence, they also say the people who put up this stuff on their house, they probably too are related to the kitty fucking rings. It takes some beating, doesn't it? So yeah, this is what we're dealing with. So when you're reading the Vault 7 releases, think kitty fuckers, think utterly fucked in the head Nazis who are mutilating women because they think they're not the right genetics, or because, because they just like to yank one off. And those sort of men are given the hacking tools, the cyber warfare command, the electromagnetic weapon system command, are given access to nuclear arsenals. And ask yourself, at what point will you help us shut these fuckers down? Okay? So that's the situation. So I continue fighting the Swiss Nazis, and by their own announcement, kitty fuckers. Melanie Vritschan, in the meantime, is fighting the Belgian, utterly fucked in the head, degenerates, and presumably, kitty fuckers who are running around with the all-seeing eye, kitty fucking symbol, and, and all this sort of stuff, okay? Meanwhile, in the US, we have exactly the same thing happening also with Karen Melton Stewart, whistleblower for the NSA, and Ramola, a human rights activist and journalist and writer. We all have these satanistic symbols and intelligence agency means, and we are being surveyed and shot into with electromagnetic weapons by the utterly degenerate people in intelligence. So if you think this is a really, really bad thing, you should remember that the person now responsible for the fact that Karen Melton Stewart is being assaulted is Admiral Rogers, head of the NSA. Ramola D, on the other hand, she's being assaulted, as far as we can tell, by the General Just Assault Network in the US. So who would be in charge of that? The people in charge of shutting it down are the fucking FBI, no? So Ramola could be, the head of the CIA, the NSA, the FBI, the local police chief, Dr. Millicent Black, she's being assaulted. I spoke to the police officer in charge. He was utterly disrespectful and totally useless. He actually even, as far as I can tell, lied me in the face because he claimed that he wasn't sent evidence, and I was included on the emails in which evidence was sent to him. So that guy still has something coming for him. Meanwhile, it's Jaak Raes, so head of Belgian intelligence, who is essentially responsible for the mutilation of Melanie Vritschan. And the men responsible in my case, because I've now, essentially traveled over 3 countries, are Andrew Parker, or Alex Younger for MI6 rather. Then Dr. Bruno Kahl, because I was mutilated in BND, just like by the BND in Germany, just like this lady who went back pregnant to Germany. I went back to Germany over Christmas and I was mutilated. They microwaved my head so hard I essentially threw up 4 times. And they did that on purpose. And I had to flee my home, and then the headache just poof disappeared. Because they essentially have a Nazi moved in next to my parents' home who was mutilating me on one side and also is trying to poison and mutilate another neighbor on the other side. A fucking Nazi. So that's Dr. Bruno Kahl. And here in Switzerland, the people who are running these fucking Nazis is essentially Markus Seiler. And the person who I asked for help, who really should help a German citizen, is Dr. Otto Lampe. He, however, has refused to help a German citizen while she's being mutilated to death by known microwave weapons who are being churned out in large numbers by companies, for example, Diehl, German weapons manufacturer, Rheinmetall, German weapons manufacturer, Aronia, German weapons manufacturer, and Siemens. And I think it was Siemens where Dr. Reinhard Munzert, who by the way is being also mutilated and assaulted by the fucking Nazis and German intelligence in Bavaria, he found out that I think Siemens works on how to hide microwave emitters in garden appliances, amongst others. Like the drums of the drums where you roll up a hose pipe, a garden hose pipe. Why the fuck would you want to put a microwave emitter there? Because this is a covert weapon system, and it's meant to be a covert system to give you cancer and essentially switch you off. Okay? That's why. Because these microwave emitters are going around everywhere. So essentially I'm already in this concentration camp. I have been mutilated for a year. I continue being mutilated. But you know what? It's not just me. There's a huge industry behind this, churning out these weapon systems. And it's just because these degenerate Nazis and the intelligence agencies probably aroused themselves through the mutilation of women that we have 70% female victims. I never ignore the men. I never do. It is just that the women are usually utterly ignored and left alone. I now happen to have put 5 women onto the life sign monitor, but I know that there are many, many men who are being microwaved as well and assaulted with electromagnetic weapons. But the key is we have to shut down the intelligence agencies. The Vault 7 releases are only about the CIA. But the truth is that the same crimes are being committed by the BND, by MI5, MI6, and the NDB, and whatever the Belgian intelligence is, abbreviated with. That's the truth. So this is the update. We continue being mutilated. If you can possibly help us, we really need funds. If you can't actually help us by fighting for us, please, what you basically are, what we are asking you for is money to be able to fight for you. So on the life sign monitor, you can see donate buttons for all the ladies. You can check their credentials, and please support us. Try to do fundraising for us. We need your help, because whilst we're in this fight, we just have barely time for anything else. Please, we need the resources. And I'll keep you updated, because now we're trying to put stuff together to help victims. But it really is an uphill struggle with all the attacks. So anyway, this is now the update. It's long enough. I'll keep you updated, and bye for now.